Welcome to Feeling Asian, a podcast where two Asians talk about their feelings. I'm Youngmi Mayer.
And I'm Brian Park.
And we have a very special guest today. It's very exciting. But before we introduce her, we're going to do our Patreon shout-outs.
Yeah, so you know the drill. If you like the podcast, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/feelingasian. Go to the website, see our exclusive benefits. They're all so good. But any donation amount gets you a shout out on the podcast. Those are the rules. And Youngmi and I tap into our psychic abilities to guess who you are based on your name alone. And Youngmi, are you ready?
Yeah, somehow I was like really harping on my psychic abilities, but it turns out Brian has better psychic abilities. So I don't know what's going on there, but I am ready, Brian.
I'm so ready. Okay, so our first shout out for this episode goes out to just a single name, no last name, She, S-H-I.
She. This sounds like I'm seeing hair. I'm seeing very, very long hair.
I'm getting a vision of just hair. Like she is, I feel like she is the most in-demand stylist at a really cool haircut place, and you have to call in like 10 weeks in advance to even get an appointment.
Yes. That sounds like a fancy like haircut person.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
like
see
where the assistant asks you who you want to get your haircut with, and then I'm like, I was thinking I could get an appointment with She tomorrow, and then they fucking spit in your face over the phone. They're like, you're a fucking idiot if you think you can get your haircut with She within 10 weeks.
Brian is keeping up his brand of having very bad relationships with service industry people. He's fighting with hosts at restaurants, the receptionist at the hair salon, getting in fist fights with anyone that works in customer service.
I'm getting a bucket hat. Like She cuts hair with a bucket hat on.
That is, and it's like $600. I'm getting that vibe. Yeah.
100%.
Very New York City vibes.
Yeah. Well, in any case, She, keep cutting great hair, and thank you for donating to our podcast. Our next shout out goes out to Michelle Chi.
Okay, I'm saying Michelle is in college. Eyeglasses, but not in a nerdy way, like a cool round like K-pop eyeglasses.
Oh. I'm getting college vibes too.
Yeah.
Michelle Chi is the treasurer of the Korean American Student Association at her college.
Wow.
Yeah.
A dream child.
A dream child, and she is in the business fraternity too. Very wholesome vibes is what I'm getting from Michelle Chi.
And we're not going to do the thing where we're like, oh, this person's like a wholesome person, but at night they do ketamine. We're just going to say only wholesome this time.
Only wholesome.
Church.
Has a boyfriend. They've been dating since high school.
Yes.
They're doing long distance, but not cheating on each other. Just wholesome through and through.
Nice.
Very happy. Yeah. Are you getting anything else from Michelle Chi, Youngmi?
No, I'm getting very wholesome vibes for sure. It's our last shout out.
If I was Michelle Chi, I would be so disappointed in the shout out that we just gave them.
She's nice. She wears glasses.
And she's
missionary
in the Korean
sex.
American Student Association. In any case, Michelle, thank you for your donation. And our last shout out for this episode goes out to Stephanie Pimentel.
Oh my God.
I'm going to guess that Stephanie Pimentel, she is in Tokyo right now at the Olympics.
Oh my God.
Olympic athlete.
I'm getting the vibes that she's also in Tokyo, but I don't think she's an athlete. I think she's just a fan. Or she just lives in Japan for some reason. I'm getting that vibe.
Okay, so she's an expat, or she actually born and bred in Tokyo?
I think she like lived there and she teaches English.
Okay.
Do you
I'm going to stick
agree?
with my Olympic athlete. No, I don't agree.
Volleyball.
Stephanie Pimentel is an Olympic athlete and in order to get pumped up for her gold medal race, she's listening to the Feeling Asian podcast.
You know, you got to do something, I guess.
Well, shout out to everyone who donated to the podcast. And once again, if you want to do so, get your little shout out. You can do it at Patreon at patreon.com/feelingasian. And I think it's time to introduce our guest, Youngmi.
I'm so excited.
Our guest this week is super fucking cool. I gotta say that up top. Our guest this week is an actor and co-host of the Fun with Dumb podcast. Listeners, give your ears to Steffie Baik.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
I think I just wooed for myself right now.
No.
But also,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be on here right now.
We're
So excited. Thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you. Woo! That was a solid woo. That's what we love here. You know,
I'm the woo girl. I am.
Wow.
I'm always that person in the group, y'all.
you are the
Wow,
cool.
wow,
You are so
wow.
cool. We're so excited to have you. I have to say, we just met at the Hack City show, the Asian Not Asian podcast live show, and afterward, you came to talk to me. Wait, who was that? Your sister?
That was my sister,
I
and I
remember.
just love that moment because we were all Asian chicks, like with different colored hair, just like meeting for the first time.
No.
It was a lot of fun. That's my sister. She lives in New York, so I went to go visit her.
And you two were like so cool, and you were like talking to me, and I was like, "Who are these cool hot chicks?" And I was like making sure everyone saw at the bar, like, I'm hanging out with the cool chicks. Look.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, we have the biggest girl crush on you. You don't even understand.
Wow.
Brian,
We're like
leave.
nervous to go up to you. Yeah.
Wow.
Aw,
You
that
see,
was so sweet.
listeners, as the witness of this event, I am like, I was the background extra of this entire interaction because I was also at this show and I saw Steffie with her blonde hair beeline to Youngmi with Youngmi's blue hair, and it was
Yeah.
just a meeting of minds. It was like the G2 summit of cool Asian girls who are very fucking mean to me, and that's okay.
No, I feel like
Brian, you're also amazing. Like I got to hear some of your stand up, and it was very different from what I've heard before. You know, any other tour to stand up. You're just kind of like reading out of your journal and like commenting on it, which I thought was very different, but also refreshing. Both of you guys really killed it, so it was great.
Steffie's like, Brian,
Wow.
your
Thank
comedy
you.
was different. You were just reading out of you were just underprepared. And kind of, it sounded like you were pulling shit out of your ass.
It was different and unusually doing well with it. Question mark, question mark.
No, it was really funny.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Steffie, we're so excited to have you on the podcast. I'm also excited to have you on the podcast because you're super cool and I'm in the presence of a cool girl, G2 Summit, Asian
That's
girl
right.
boss, whatever, et cetera, power.
I love that you keep, I've heard you say the word cool, and I'm like curious, like what does cool mean? Like I'm like I don't feel like a cool person, you know, like I don't consider myself, oh, I'm cool, but it's like it's almost like when I think of cool, it's like you know, like both aesthetic versus also maybe who you are as a person.
Yeah.
But my first response to cool is you look cool. Right?
I think it's like a.
I don't know.
I think it's a vibe. You know, it's like
It's a
chill
vibe.
vibe. And I think the only people. I think most people are actually cool. I think the people that are not cool are the people that think that they're really cool. Those are the only people that are like not. Oh my god, what a loser! Look at that loser.
Yeah.
Well, for the listeners who like to go to our YouTube and watch our podcast, you'll know exactly what I mean when I'm saying that I am the least cool of the three of us on this podcast at this very moment.
I concur.
But before I concur, yeah, I concur strongly. Before we ask you how you feel, Steffie, Youngmi, how are you feeling?
Oh my god! Every week I'm like it's like taken by surprise. Why would anyone care how I feel? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really excited for our live show. you know, Brian and I did a lot of work. I feel like for some reason, you know, Brian has like a full-time job and I have a son. So we end up smushing all the like podcast stuff onto one day usually. And today was one of those like smush all the work into one day. And it's like, it's kind of a weird kind of work because it's fun. We obviously love doing it. But it's like talking and sort of entertaining in a way. And just talking a lot is really exhausting. And like just thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
And that's coming from someone who loves attention and talking. So it's exhausting in a fun way, but it is exhausting. And it's like kind of weird to like register that because I am having so much fun when I do this kind of stuff with Brian. Also, I'm like having so much sex right now. It's just like fucking back blown out.
Oh my God.
Just you know,
So
TMI
jealous.
for the fans. That's so creepy. The fans. Ugh. I'm tired. Look at me drinking water. I'm trying to hydrate. It's impossible.
Holy shit.
All the sex.
Wow.
My
Are
life
those
is
two
great. Yeah.
Are those two related? Like, because you are smushing so many activities at once, you're also smushing in all the fucking on one day.
Yeah, you know, like single moms feel me. You know, when you're co-parenting and your son or your kid is not at home, is when you gotta get it all in. Gotta get it in. Literally, get it in.
Yes.
For like 3 days.
Yeah, do it for all the single moms when the kids
Oh
are
my god!
home.
The other day with a babysitter, like Mino's caretaker is my friend Colin. So I'd like consider her a friend, but she also watches Mino. But she was dropping Mino off, and she just like started laughing when she saw me. I was like, "Why are you laughing?"
God.
And she was like, "You just look so blown. You look like your fucking back was blown the fuck out." I was like, "What?" Like just like me with my hair all fucked up. Like, hey. That's it. That's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling, Brian?
Oh my God. Honestly, very similar.
Wow.
Yeah, very similar. Sans my back getting blown out. I'm just fucking tired as shit. But yeah, how am I feeling? I guess this week I don't really have any strong, prescient feelings at the front of my mind right now. But let's see. Okay, this is I guess you know what? How I've been feeling? I've been feeling like a bit of a hater, and I just need to get no, not directed at anyone, but it is inspired by my. So for my full-time job, I do like a lot of research, and funnily enough, I had to do a bunch of research on the podcast landscape. Not anything to do with our like Feeling Asian podcast, but just about podcasts at large. And I was looking through all the lists of like, what are the most popular podcasts in America? And I was just like, why does every single person... I feel like I'm just a jaded hater because everyone seems like a snake oil salesman. Like, if I see the career life coach one more time, I'm like, what the fuck is a life coach? Like, why are you qualified?
Yeah.
What? Like, it's not like you have a PhD or... Okay, I get it. People are going to call me classist or elitist because, like, you know, just because you don't have the educational background. But I'm like, what is a life coach? What? Like, you're just a random you're a human like I am. Like, what qualifies you to be better at advising at life than anyone else? Yet so many of these podcasts, life coach, like Darren Childs, like 1 million like viewers per episode, and I'm like, what? You're just giving seminars, talking for $20,000 speaking fee, and probably cheating on your wife at an embassy suite somewhere in like Iowa City.
Embassy
like,
suites.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
that's snake oil salesman is such a good way to put it. Honestly, it's just like people. You know what I think is creepy, and this goes for the Scientology guy, because he was like a writer, right? He was like an entertainer. I think a lot of those people are like actors, like failed actors that learn, you know, like Brian and I went to like acting school. You learn how to like sort of manipulate emotions in people. And so it's like this person that's like an actor, and that's how they're so good at it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like they have this like fake charisma.
Yeah, so that's just kind of what's been at the top of my mind. I guess we've just been super busy with a bunch of podcast stuff for this, and it's all great things because I'm excited for the live show, and I feel like I love doing this. But today it was one of those smush days where after we had all those interviews and recorded, God, this is how fucking egocentric and crazy my brain works. Is I was starving after one of those like meetings that we had, and in that moment I'm like, oh, I really get how chess grandmasters feel now, because they have to eat really calorie-rich diets because they're using their brain so much.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, recording a podcast is exactly like that. I am very hungry. And meanwhile, I'm getting upset at other narcissists who are just doing narcissism better than I'm currently doing. What is going on with my brain right now?
Maybe you need a life coach.
Yeah, maybe, or just become your own life coach. No, I feel like I think the whole thing about our podcast is that we are very much like, hey, we're stupid, don't listen to us. But like, just for somebody to be like,
however, everything in
expert.
American society would tell you that is the worst thing you can do, because even if you have no qualifications and you give a firm handshake, anyone would be like, I trust you.
Yeah.
Do you want a $250,000 recording deal?
Yeah. It's a sad truth.
Basically what I'm saying is, listeners, how am I feeling? I am feeling like I am 2 bad decisions away from fully becoming a life coach. But enough about me. Steffi, how are you feeling?
At this moment, I just rushed over from the other podcast that I was at, the Fun with Them, the one that I co-host. So I felt very rushed and ill-prepared for this. I have to say, you guys have been the most, I feel like professional, I want to say. The fact that you guys had questions, you guys had like a setup, and I've done my share of like guesting on hosts, so I'm very like impressed by you guys.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, even on our Fun with Them, no, to be honest, we don't even prepare for that. We don't have anything. It's just kind of like, you know, shooting the shit type of thing. And I guess most of the interviews have so far been that way. So I got kind of nervous when I got the email today. I was like, oh my God, I gotta be like, I felt I like went back to school. I was like in high school for a second, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to answer like these questions. What's the right way to answer it? But now that I'm on here and I'm talking to you guys, this is so chill. It's great. It's so much fun already. Sorry
that we gave off that vibe. That is not our vibe at all. We are a hot mess.
I love that it was very prepared. Like, I need to be more prepared. Fuck. I'm just like that type of person. I'm just like kind of out there, you know, and
all I can think about now is those times I've texted young me, hey, we really need to send the outline to our guests, and how fucking uncool and lame that is. Fuck.
No, it's cool. I appreciate that. I know like some of the talking points, to be honest. Because sometimes I'll just sit there and be like, wait, what is this whole podcast about? Yeah. That's kind of what, like, I just did Stevie Weeby. Do you guys know who that is?
Yeah, it's Bobby Lee's brother.
Bobby Lee's brother. I did his pod last week, and by the end of it, we were at In-N-Out, and like, we were just sitting there going like, what do we talk about? And
that happens to me.
Like,
I'm like,
so do you think this weird. You're based in LA, right?
I am currently in LA, yes.
Is that like am I being offensive, but is that like an LA vibe thing? Like very, very chill, like go with the flow.
Go with the flow, man. Relax.
Yeah, maybe, you know, I think that I've learned to also just kind of go with the flow more so now that I'm in the entertainment industry. I didn't always start off, you know, I was in sales for almost 7-8 years.
Whoa.
And so so I'm literally kind of going the complete opposite direction and leaning into not being prepared. So I think I lead my life that way.
What industry were you in sales?
And I'm still doing it. I'm in real estate.
Wow.
Oh,
But
wow.
I did it. Yeah, I did it as like a full-on like occupation. Like I had the whole ass like outfits that I would go into the office. I would prospect, to door knock, cold call, meet numbers.
Did you have a billboard?
You know, sold.
Yo.
Did you have the billboard? Like,
I didn't, but I had.
the hands on your shoulders,
Right?
looking back
Yeah,
behind your shoulder.
Yeah, national top real estate agent.
Oh man!
Like, how could everyone be a top real estate agent?
Wait, this is so
like,
weird.
it's always-
I didn't know that about you. So when did you like switch your career path? This is a very popular topic on our podcast, by the way. Asian people who like go the route of like making their parents happy and then like deciding to do something creative later on. Like when did that happen?
Totally. It happened only 2 years ago. So I've only been in this industry for. Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
I know.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So I started off. I kind of had like this like quarter life crisis, I would say, and I was like in a really long-term relationship. I was engaged, guys, for like a long time, and I was like living under like my mom's rules and just being like your stereotypical Asian in certain ways, right? Like following the rules. I didn't experiment with drugs. I still haven't gone to like a rave, guys. Like I haven't been to.
Wow.
I know.
Listeners,
I know.
I've even been to a rave. Raves.
Turns
multiple.
out Brian was the coolest one all along. It's always, you know, I feel like for Asians, the ones that like party and do the most drugs are the ones that look so straight laced. They're the ones like with just like long black hair, and they're just wearing like a hoodie and have like eyelashes.
In college,
yeah,
straight up the wildest and most like drug centric, party centric crew were like the pastor kids.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
they're crazy.
Crazy.
Pastor kids are the craziest because I have a cousin like that. I have multiple best friends. Yes. So Brian, were you like, did you have like a phase of like dressing a certain way, like the opposite of who you are now visually? I guess where when you're going through the raves and whatnot. I just can't imagine you at a rave. Like,
wow, these are them fighting words. This is a feeling Asian person. It's just quiet.
No, you're very I think a lot of people would say that you're an attractive person. But I just mean, the aesthetic. You're not wearing like. Did you wear Jinko jeans at some point?
Brian was at the rave in his polo shirt and his like fitted khaki pants. I don't even know what kind of pants.
No. Yo, it's straight up. This is. I did. You're gonna laugh, but honestly, thinking back to the outfit that I wore at that rave, I was wearing a Dim Mak Records Steve Aoki t-shirt that was kind of like distressed, and I was wearing like Yoji Yamamoto's sneakers.
Wow.
Like straight up, I was like a totally different person then. Totally different
Wow. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
We're finding out that Brian is in fact maybe cool. He's the cool one.
Yeah. I noticed that, as I've gotten older, I meet people that have kind of like transitioned, go through their phases, like the rebellious phase and whatnot. And then I meet the people that have like gone through that already. And they're like hella normal looking.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the post rave era
And that's,
of the Asian life cycle.
I love being an adult because like now that I'm in my 30s, I'll meet people and I'll just be like a regular ass looking mom. And then she'll be like, I was fucking doing coke and when I was 15. This woman, I feel like she's really rich, but she looks very normal. But she was like, when I was 15, I was going to Ibiza and doing fucking coke with DJs, and I was like, whoa.
Oh,
cool.
For sure.
It's like fun being an adult for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be like that. That is like I'm very close to that. I can't wait to start wearing suit jackets casually.
Talk about your crazy life going to raves. Just like drop it casually. I used to go to raves, whatever. I used to dabble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Wait,
That's funny.
Steffi, can I ask, are you, so you live in LA, you're Korean. Did you grow up in LA?
I grew up between LA and during the summers and winters, I would go to Brazil. That's where my family, my grandparents immigrated to Brazil because apparently it was either Brazil or Boston, and they're like, the people are nice in Brazil. So they just went there. Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
People are friendly, welcoming, didn't seem, racist. So I guess it was like that was the place. That was the place they decided.
Yeah.
So because of that, I would go to out there. My mom, I think, needed so I was raised as a single mom, by a single mom. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think she needed her breaks. I didn't realize that till I was older, and so I would take my sister and I would go to Brazil.
She needed to get it
I would learn
in.
about the Korean culture. Yeah, dude, I don't know, maybe.
I know
Damn,
exactly.
What are you doing getting
I'm
it
just
in
saying.
Chinatown? Go to Brazil.
No.
and
I'm just
get
saying,
that
I know
dick.
exactly what your mom was doing.
Oh my god, that's so weird. It's so weird because to me, my mom's so straight-laced. So like to hear like you tell me like during the weekend or like like time off when you don't have your kids, you're just like getting
railed.
the fuck in.
Getting
Real
railed.
hard.
Dude, the second she dropped you off at the airport, she was just getting.
Oh, fuck.
Sorry. Go Mama Baik. I'm down with it, dude. I hope that's what she was doing.
I know for a fact that's what she was doing. That is so interesting. Wow. I love how old like Asian people are just so random about where they live. They're like, I'm just gonna go to Brazil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't give a fuck. They're just like, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna go to Brazil. I don't care.
I just love the random. I've really learned a lot through Club. I went through the phase of being on Clubhouse during the pandemic. Did you guys go through? I know I was one of those Asians, and and like and so I would go on and listen in these groups, and there was this like I just realized how many Asians there are, like immigrant Asians, and all over the world.
Oh yeah,
and we were like meeting up there, and like I became really close friends. So now I have places to go, and I feel like safe because I know they're family, basically, right?
Yeah.
Youngmi and I had a theory. We had a hunch, and that is, do you go out in KTown? Like, do you know your way around Koreatown in LA?
So that's funny. People think that I'm very much part of the KTown like culture, but that didn't happen until last year.
Oh.
So before that, I did not. I don't know, like growing up here, like my mom would take me to KTown to go get Korean groceries like once a month, or like it was kind of like a place that we went to like go get glasses, or like it wasn't a place I really hung out. We got food, we got like the essentials, like Asian essentials or something.
Yeah.
And then as I gotten older, I guess I never really like went. I just didn't. I think I was like trying to learn about my identity, and I wasn't really leaning into the Korean part of it as much as I could have, and I was busy doing sales, and I lived in like the beach city so far away, removed from KTown, and a KTown is considered kind of like a party. There's like a party scene or like a clubbing scene, and I just never like cared to be part of that.
Right.
And then until last year, really being on meeting a lot of Korean people, like with meeting Dumb and getting in tune with like my culture and like who I am, and going to therapy actually. Going to therapy made me realize that I wasn't in tune with like my Korean side and my father's like heritage. Right. And so she's like, you want to learn about your roots, girl. So I was like, all right. So I started kind of, dating someone Korean. I started meeting a lot more Koreans, and that's why I started hanging out in KTown so much.
Oh my god!
And then now I'm very much part of. I would say I'm part of it. It's a lot. It's really fun. KTown's like so much fun.
How's it been for you so far this past year? Like, what are some things that you've learned about being in Koreatown, and I guess like where do you think why did you avoid it prior to that?
I've been learning so much about I think I've been running away from it just because my own like stereotypes and prejudice against my own culture.
Right.
And that's obviously for, I think, a lot of people has been eye-opening since the pandemic and all the things that we've gone through last year.
Yeah.
It's like hard not to like be introspective during that time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I recognized, and like going to therapy just made me realize like to learn more about yourself and your problems and your traumas and your issues. It's like you do have to go back and like find out about your ancestors' traumas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So that led me to kind of embrace it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, going back to Clubhouse, it gave me a space for me to meet other Asian Americans that felt very similar to me. I think a lot of us have identity crisis. And like, I think because I came from also having the Brazilian background too, it was all so confusing. Like I didn't one of the main things I learned about myself, about being Korean and Brazilian and all that, is that I used to be very embarrassed that I was an ESL. Do you know that? Yeah. And I was born here, and I was the only person born in the U.S. in elementary school that was going to ESL, and I didn't realize until I was in Clubhouse that my first language was not English. I always thought that. So that it took me this long to realize like I had so many other languages and cultures that were like mixed and I was influenced by.
Wow.
Right.
And it made me like be more like caring to my inner child.
Oh, that's such
forgiving.
a nice. Yeah, because I'm glad you said that, because for a lot of people that their parents are immigrants, not just Asian immigrants, they might have been born here, but if your parents are not speaking English to you before you go to school, then you don't know English. So it is your second language. So yeah, ESL gang, rise up. I was also in ESL. Woo! I did not.
Oh, really?
I did not.
Oh my
God.
God.
I didn't speak a word of English until I was 6 years old. Like literally, which is crazy.
Oh, you were in Korea, right? Yeah.
ESL gang. That is so interesting. That's so funny to me that you were like, so I went to therapy and then now I'm drinking soju at nightclubs in Koreatown because that's what my therapist said I needed to do.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I wish this is the shittiest part of me being Asian. Is that I'm allergic to alcohol.
Oh, no.
Yo.
Like that makes me a shitty Asian.
No,
yeah,
it
I know,
does
so I
make
can't
you a
even-
shitty Asian because Brian is also
don't
allergic
drink.
to alcohol.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I don't drink because I'm allergic.
Wow.
Wow,
Brian.
we exist.
This is crazy. Yeah. I don't meet
exist.
many people like
No,
this.
a lot of Asians are allergic to alcohol. A lot of Koreans are.
Yes, but they drink anyways, right?
Power.
Like, they
You gotta
drink
power
anyways, that's the
through.
thing.
Okay.
Wow.
We're not quitters. We're Koreans.
Yeah.
That gives me hope. Well, just as a quick fun question, would Youngmi and I could you see us in KTown in LA? Would we be
Oh, absolutely.
Let's
Fighting
go.
Absolutely.
Fighting some bitches.
Look, all
Just kidding. You were saying you after the
That you were
therapy
not- yeah.
thing, and you were like starting to like reconnect with your like Korean roots, going to Koreatown. And then you said you started dating a Korean person. Can I ask you about who you have dated? Like, what's your dating history? And like the way you said it, it sounded like you hadn't dated a Korean person before, or did I misunderstand that? Or
No, I was engaged for like over 6 years. I'm not engaged, 4 years, but in a relationship for like over 6 years. And so I wanted to, it was a pandemic breakup.
wow.
Whoa.
And yup. I think we just realized we had different, we just became different people. So we just went separate ways. It's all cordial. We're friends still.
Nice.
I care about him so much. I still love him. But after that, I like kind of started dating someone that was a friend of mine. And we dated for almost a year. And then recently, in the last few months, we broke up. And I've always been in relationships. I've been always very dependent on like I was a monogamous relationship person like forever. And this is the first time I'm being like single as an adult. So
Wow.
I am having so much fun.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I am also, I don't know if maybe I told you that night. I don't remember, but like I also was like a serial monogamous all my adult life. I got out of like a 10-year marriage, and then I kept falling into these serious relationships. So my last breakup, which was almost 2 years ago now, like a year and a half ago, I was like, I'm not going to get in a relationship and I promised myself to be single for a year. And now it's been like a year and a half. I've like never been happier. It's
hell yeah, dude.
So much fun.
Yes. It's so fun.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh my God. It's and that's so interesting. I'm probably going through the phases of what you've already are going through, right? Like I'm in the phase of that. And so like I recognize like it was so hard. Was it really hard for you like during your first
I mean,
just separating yourself from like the long-term relationships?
I could also feel myself starting to do it again, because I would date people and then I'd be like, I'm in love with them, and then I was like, don't do that, stop. But what I learned in the last year and a half is I have had a lot of weird, toxic, deeply ingrained beliefs that were really like not like anti-feminist. Like I did believe that, I don't know, like I needed somebody to be safe, or like I had all these weird, I don't even know how to put words to it, because they were like emotional beliefs that I had. And I like shedding that was very interesting, because I didn't even know I thought like that. You know what I mean? And you know what, this is a good example of how that felt. In the back of my mind, there was a part of me that believed deeply that there is something wrong about a woman who is like free. Like it's something bad. Like I'm doing something wrong or something.
What do you mean by free though? Like how would you define free?
I feel like there's like this deep-seated, like very misogynistic belief in my head that a woman that just has sex with whoever she wants and doesn't like, like do these like traditional relationships, there's something like bad, like that's doing something bad. And that was a surprise. That was a surprise realization, because I didn't even know that I had that thought in my head, you know?
Yeah, it's totally a cultural thing. I mean, like it's a part of a lot of patriarchal cultures, and I feel like being Korean, like always being asked by our parents, like, when are you getting married? Do you have a boyfriend? Like these types of questions kind of like add to all that pressure of feeling like you need to be in something, or you're not normal. You're not okay.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So I too am unlearning a lot about this. And I still question a lot of things about myself, and like, you know, like the feeling of safety, like being in a relationship, or like, you know, a man giving me safety. Like that is something I'm really trying hard to like practice getting out of like my vocabulary, or like just, you know, like my thought process of like it being important. There's still so much for me to like still learn, but it's this freedom, the word freedom. Oh my God. I don't know how you feel about monogamous like do you still practice monogamy, or do you like, how do you feel about that? Because like
I don't,
or both of you.
Oh well, Brian,
I
you
do. Yeah, so I'm in a relationship now, but I would say I was pretty serial monogamous, similar to you, and then I had like started dating really casually, but it was more informed by the idea of like, I need to get this out of my system, and I was like, I just need to fuck around, and almost to a fault, like I would never let anything just organically happen, because I would be so quick to put a label on things and just be like, I was just letting you know, like, I'm not emotionally available. Even though like it could be like a great chemistry and really chill, I'd be like, just letting you know, like, I don't want anything serious. Like this isn't gonna be anything serious, just letting you know. And that was so like imbued in me, where even now, like, now that I'm dating someone, it was like a deliberate choice on my part, where I'm like, oh, now this whole like fucking around and being really casual is so second nature that I'm I'm tired of this a little bit and I want a little bit more stability, and it's now I have to like switch back into making it a conscious choice of like, yeah, I'm like killing things and not letting things grow organically because maybe out of a fear of commitment. But yeah, so now I'm like monogamous and I'm enjoying it. It's great.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like there's, you know, you're very specific about the fact that it was, I think a lot of times people are like, you need to be in a relationship with someone that you change, like going from the unemotionally available to emotionally available. People think it's because you met the right person. It's the person that makes you change. But in reality, what I'm learning is that it seems like it's us having to make that choice first, right? Like we have to be ready for the relationship.
Yep.
Yes.
Would you guys agree?
That's
Right?
so crazy because that's like what Brian talked about last week. He was like, because
I literally just like said the exact same thing where it's a conscious. No, it's great. I mean that is a recent realization that I'm sort of grappling with too. Like
what you said, Steffi, is like how I read it. Also now being single, I'm like for a while. Yeah. Before I would have these strong feelings, and it didn't matter if the person was wrong on paper or I knew there were like red flag city or whatever. Red flags, great adventures. My favorite. Like red flags, great. Here we go again. But even if like I would just go with my gut feeling and be like, well, I have all these like strong feelings, so I'm just gonna go with it. And this is like organically, life is pulsing this, pushing me into this direction. But now I think, you know, being single for a long time, I'm like, oh no, like, okay, maybe I feel some things for certain people, but I have to like really logically think, is this right? You gotta like not try to go with your gut, because your gut is just a bunch of hormones that, you know what I mean? It's not like really even making sense. Yeah. So I have to make the choice to be like, I have to stop myself and not pursue this or that or something like that, which I didn't really know how to do before. Being
conscious of it, making choices, knowing the bad choices and like, or the bad experiences, and being like, okay, I could learn from this, or I can decide not to, but at least it's my choice, and I know if I'm being bad, it's my own decision.
Right.
It's fun being bad.
So is dating in LA?
Oh my god, I hate it so much. I hate like having to be like, I hate that. I hate not being able to just kind of like be impulsive, right? It's just so annoying.
I like
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, so is dating in LA what it seems like it is? Like lots of actors and fucking Hollywood Hills rooftop parties, famous people.
Okay, so again, new to the entertainment industry, new to the dating scene. So like I don't have that much of like a pool of like what I don't know. I don't feel like I know the fullest extent.
Sure.
Are you talking about just partying, or you mean date? Did you say dating? I'm sorry.
Let's go with dating. Let's go with partying.
With dating?
Give us.
Okay, I was actually in New York.
Hot goss.
I was in New York like a couple weeks ago, like you know, when I met you guys, and dating in New York is so much better. Like so much better than it is here. Yes. Wow. Because you can meet so many cool people in a short amount of time, and everyone's just like, let's go, let's do this, let's do that. And like, I think there's like this energy of like, just people want to experience things. I know it's like past the pandemic or whatever, but right, like LA is just, everything is so planned, and like, do you want to go to the beach? You want to go on a hike? No, bro, I don't want to do those things. Like, I just want to like...
Yo, that's literally how I date in New York.
Oh, really? Well, I don't match with people like you. I don't know.
Hike. No, thank you. If I see like on a dating profile, if I see one picture of somebody outside, no. No. On a mountain or something, no, thank you. Gross.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
One thing I did learn about dating and using dating apps is that you can really, I mean, you guys probably know this because you guys had like your you know, your single time to like date around and stuff, is like people use dating apps to like kind of find somebody, and then like they become like your tour guide when you go to different like states or like countries.
Oh.
I haven't really,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't really traveled. Well, you know, I haven't really traveled and done that. The only place I have gone to a lot is San Francisco, and I used to live there, so I didn't really need a tour guide. But that sounds fun. That sounds sexy.
Yeah,
I want to do that.
Yeah,
I've definitely been the tour guide before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like being the tour guide?
Yeah, it's fun. It's like a two-way thing, because being in New York for so long, you kind of get used to the vibe and everyone who's here. And if you meet someone who's not from New York originally, then you kind of get like a new perspective that you probably otherwise would not have encountered.
That's true, and it's nice because you already know that there's really not that many strings attached or no strings attached. Like you're both on there knowing that you're there, like you don't live there. Yeah. So like I think that itself kind of like loosens it. You also like end up meeting certain people that I think are a bit more maybe like risk takery or like just it's about the experience, and they're aware of that.
That makes so much sense. So that's also nice. Yeah, Young Me has definitely commented that about me, where I was very commitment phobic, so I would. Find myself dating people where there was an expiry date. Like it's just out of convenience, where you're like, I don't have to have that difficult conversation about like exclusivity or what is this, because I know this shit is gonna expire in a month from now.
Yeah, Brian would always like match with people that lived in like Paris or something. And I was like, this is. I was like, this seems a little. I'm not judging Brian. He's like, I'm talking to somebody in London. I'm like, okay, I see there's a pattern here.
The least available person ever.
Oh God. But Steffie, you're an actor, correct? Out in LA?
Yes. Yeah, I'm new to acting. I've been modeling, like mostly been modeling, and acting's like what I'm pursuing. Yes.
Great. And we're a little curious. We wanted to know, do you have any what's like your worst horror story, acting, modeling related? Because I often joke on this podcast how my passion is losing auditions to biracial actors who were in Crazy Rich Asians.
My passion.
Yeah, it's always the biracial.
My passion is going to auditions and then not getting the role. Brian Barr.
I don't like. I hate like the racial like. I feel like it's better a little. It's getting a little bit better now, but I noticed that you obviously get categorized. So
what do you get categorized as?
I'm either like the cool hipster whatever girl, party girl, or like the future, something about like the future, or she's like a robot or whatever.
Wow.
Right? Like, yeah.
Wow.
Which is cool. I don't mind that. But like when I get like, I guess it's mostly with like modeling, and like when I first started, I was like doing music videos and stuff like that. I was just testing everything out because I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. And doing commercial work and stuff like that, and I hated getting like the Harajuku girl roles. Like it's always like colorful outfit. Like I mean, obviously I'm wearing a colorful outfit, but like it was just like I don't know. It's always this like whole thing where they put you into like this like one specific category of like aesthetically you look with the the Asian bangs with the dark hair, and then like like I didn't like that trope, I guess, but I would get categorized in there just because I was an alternative Asian girl. Right. And also like just being in music videos early on. Like I remember being in this one music video with these two twins. They're like these white kids, and we like had the whole music video was in a Chinese restaurant. And I was the only Asian girl there, and like they were like like the dim sum like caps. Yeah. Like they were like playing with it, putting it on their heads, and like being jokey about it, like for the music video. And like the director was a white white person. And so I speak up in moments like that, just because like I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be part of that.
You don't want to be associated. You don't want to be in that music video. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I do my best to speak up and tell him like, yo, I don't think that's appropriate. And, you know, I don't know if that's my place or not, but I just don't want to be associated with it. So that type of thing I don't like. Yeah.
I'm also curious about this future technology girl archetype, because even the movie Deus Ex Machina, where there was like a sex robot person and she was an Asian actress, I'd be curious how many of all the people they called into audition, what percentage of them are Asian, because like whether it's like really labeled on the head or not, I feel like these people who are casting are white people with their implicit biases, and they're like you know, like best friend who isn't seen as sexual, and then I'll go in the audition room and I'm like, oh, so that's just coded language for like Asian dude. Right. Yeah, but maybe that's me like reading too much in between the lines and seeing like something that doesn't even exist there. I don't know.
No, that's definitely, I mean, you know, obviously Steffie probably has way more experience, but that's definitely like a known racist trope for Asian people, right? Because they see us as like unemotional,
devoid
sort
of emotion.
Yeah, or like they're in for a service of like a sex robot, or just like a robot that pleases a man, like that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Object.
Do you think it's because a lot of Asians though are like I question that, because I have a lot of Asians are repressed. I'm not saying like this is the truth and every Asian is this way. I'm just questioning whether like you know, when I think of Asians, like, and there is a lot of kind of roboticness to, like, I felt like I was a robot until like I, you know, like went to therapy.
Right.
Like you know, like we learned to do that as a kid. So like I wonder if you know,
I think that it's valid that you are seeing something in our culture that maybe affects us in a certain way, and I think that's a valid like a discussion, an interesting discussion for Asians, for us three to be having. But I do not think it's an appropriate thing for a fucking white male director to write into a movie. Nope. Nope. That's not right. But I definitely feel like you as an Asian woman, seeing parts of your culture that like mirror that, and asking yourself that and wondering why that is, and like saying that in a place with other Asian people, I think that's amazing. And I think that's like, you know, it is like healing, and it's like a place where we all have room to like openly talk about it. It's like, you know, like in fear of being made fun of, it is like a safe place here, like for us to wonder that among ourselves.
Right.
But I don't want to fucking see a white man writing a sexy Asian woman into a stupid fucking short film. I don't want to fucking see that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've had enough.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that acting question because I feel like as Asian actors, we are like, there's just so many random fun experiences that come with it, because even in like recently I auditioned for this feature film, and then like 2 weeks later they announced that Steven Yeun was cast in it. I'm like, why are you like, excuse me, like, yes, congratulations, you made the right choice, but like why am I even doing this? Like
right.
Yeah,
it is very frustrating, because all the rules are still going to the same like few people that we already see. So it's like, it would be nice for them to give us a fucking chance. Like, but that's like kind of what the industry is, I feel like, right? Or I haven't been in it that long, but I do know that, you know, I recognize it's all just kind of like who you know. It's like a big part, right?
Yeah.
The role of sexy robot is being played by Steven Yeun. That could have been me. Just kidding.
Well, Steffi, thanks for joining us thus far on the Feeling Asian podcast, but we're going to leave you with one last question that we like to ask all of our guests, and that is, what is something that you're proud of?
I am proud of being independent and being independent and free and single.
Yes.
I'm very, very proud of that. I'm excited about it.
Damn.
It's allowed me to step into like my own shoes for the first time fully and make my own choices, decisions. It's like fucking nice to know I could just wake up, not have to deal with anyone next to me, and like just if I want to go downstairs, get fucking my Dunkin' Donuts and eat it in bed, crumbs everywhere. That's my fucking choice. You know? It's great.
It's so much fun. It's the best.
It's exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so excited about your answer.
That was probably the most confident. That was delivered with so much conviction. Most of the times when we ask that to our guests, they're like, I'm proud of my son. But you were like,
because it's fucking real. It's true. I feel excited. I think that's why I was excited when I met Young Me and I like learned about her and like, we're kind of going through similar things.
Single pride.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And where can our listeners find you and your work?
You can find me on my IG, Baked Goods, BAIKEDGUDS. You can find me on my Twitch streams, twitch.tv/Steffie Baik, STEFFIE BAIK. And also come check out our pod, Fun with Dumb, if you haven't already. And we live stream it every Tuesday at 1 Pacific Standard Time on Twitch, or twitch.tv/dumbfoundedlive.
Nice.
But if you follow my socials or Dumb socials...
Are the DMs open for our listeners?
Oh my God, please, yes. I don't always answer, but I do look at them. And
wow.
DMs are open. Huh?
The DMs are open.
Wait, do people like, are people gonna DM me from this?
I mean, I don't know. People DM me all the time and they say, Brian is hot. Can you hook me up with Brian? Why is Brian so hot? Brian looks so hot today. I'm coming to New York next month. Can you hook me up on a date with Brian? So they might DM you that.
Dude, my sister's gonna be pissed because I'm putting her. She thinks you're hot. She's
wow.
Like, yo, Brian's hot. She's gonna be pissed when she hears. She listens to your pod. She was excited for this podcast because she listens to it. She's a regular listener. Diana.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want to,
DMs are open, listeners.
Yeah,
if you want to,
thank you for having me, guys.
It was so great. If you want to DM Brian and tell him he's hot, please just DM Brian at It's Brian Park.
And
not
if
me.
you want to DM Young Me, and get penciled into her very busy Google Calendar, shoot your shot at YM Mayer on Instagram and at Young Me Mayer on TikTok.
Brian's TikTok is It's Brian Park. You can slide in those DMs if you want. Just don't slide into mine about Brian.
And follow our podcast on socials at Feeling Asian Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/feelingasianpodcast. We're also on TikTok. Follow us, DM us, and I think that's it.
That's
everyone.
it.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.